Hi, everybody. I know we're getting close to, is it lunchtime? I guess it's after lunchtime. I don't know. I'm always lost. I know you just came from Singapore, so you must be upside down.
5 a.m. yesterday.
I mean, the job to be chief customer officer of the largest hotel brand in the world.
Yes, indeed, you can say it. The largest.
The largest hotel brand in the world. It's probably an incredible set of opportunities, obligations, thinking about how you get this portfolio across the world. And that's just running the hotel business. And now the big announcement this week is that you're actually in the commerce media business.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Talk to us about
isn't
that.
It? Well, we started the business in hotels, and that was really a real estate-focused business, building our brands in partnership with those who own the hotels and assets. And we were a management company. But over the years, we built a great reputation, obviously great brands, and that gave us permission to have the largest and most valuable audience in the world. And so with that, we said, well, if we're going to deepen loyalty with consumers and create a better ecosystem of customers for our owners, like how might we do that? And of course, Media Network, we experimented with many complementary businesses over time, homes and villas, insurance, other products. We're into retail now as well, but the Media Network is part of a flywheel for us. So the more we create great experiences for consumers, the bigger audience we get, and then the more we understand about that audience, the deeper data we have, right, to then drive back into the marketing of our portfolio. So today we have over 30 brands, almost 40 actually, and we can't go to market the same way we used to. We can't tell a single consumer about our 40 brands. No one could possibly name all the brands in any hotel's portfolio today. So we have to get to know the customer, passions and preferences, and then put the right portfolio in front of you. So by nature, it's almost perfect for a media network.
That's great. Now, you're just getting into this business, you're just launching it. Any early insights, observations, things that you're sitting here in front of like a media marketing universe at Adweek. This is now a new set of responsibilities for you to promote the media network. What are your thoughts, insights from sort of day 10?
Well, there's probably a lot that I can learn from everybody here. So first of all, you should probably be on the stage and I should probably be answering the questions. But I think that our desire, our vision is that we can give brands the opportunity to be a part of the traveler journey. And I've been myself in the hotel business for over 21 years now. And being the chief customer officer, I've spent most of my career thinking a lot about consumers, why they travel, how they travel, right? How to segment, how to think about different trip types. But at the end of the day, I think underlying just the trip itself is people are constantly thinking about their next trip. And I think there's this opportunity as people are thinking about that journey, whether it's at point of inspiration or the stay itself or after the stay when you're reliving those memories, to introduce other brands as part of that process. And so it's less to me about the merchandising placements that you can get as a partner. It's more about, can I be part of a traveler journey with my brand or my product?
I think that's, it's a new way to think about where and how partner brands show up. Being part of that journey is a new opportunity to travel with and show up in the right places. But obviously, that concept, I think, is a new offering. It's brand new to the market. How does somebody who wants to come along that journey with you, how would they measure sort of success or think about those capabilities that they could leverage when they think about okay, this is what I want to do with you on that journey, and this is the kind of outcomes that I think I can drive uniquely from being part of that journey?
So first of all, being a marketer for many years myself, I know what's most important, right? Measure the KPIs and drive incremental business. That's been drilled into my head by my CEO and CFO for many, many years. And so we come at creating a media network that starts with what are the outcomes, as well as how do we make sure that the data and the structure of the data and the way we use the data is in place so that we can deliver on the value to partners. And we've been experimenting. What I love about the media network, which even surprised us ourselves, is that you can just get in and try things. And so we reached out to our endemic partners, Pepsi and Visa, and said, hey, do you guys want to try something in our media network with us? And, they were like, sure, like, why not? And so with Pepsi, we said, well, what do you want to promote, right? They said, how about Gatorade? We've got Gatorade in the hotels. Like, let's see what we could do with Gatorade. And so we started with a Gatorade promotion that was really about the Gatorade brand and bottles of Gatorade. And at first we put that in the channel and we're like, you know what, like that just seems kind of like an advertisement. Like, let's switch it up. Like, can we talk about hydration on travel? And can we promote your great Gator Light product? And I went onto the Gatorade site and I explored this survey where, it was about, well, how hydrated are you really? Really? So I filled it out and I thought, well, why don't we tell our consumers about this? Well, our own members and travelers, like they would love to know this. And so we made the placement be about filling out your hydration survey. And then we recommended you try the Gator Light products in the hotel. And lo and behold, we drove record signups, we drove incremental lift to the sales in the hotels and awareness for those products. And so I think it's for partners what we're inviting brands to be part of the process, to test and learn with us. We are providing our own internal agency as a resource to think about and experiment with how does your brand or product show up in that travel journey.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's almost like it's less of like a digital signage or advertising, and you're actually thinking about activations and specific plans inside of the hotels because you have them as a captive audience and you're sort of activating people within your properties themselves.
That's right. So we have off-site placements, on-site placements, on-site meaning the web, the app, right? The app is mostly members. And then we have the TV itself, right, which is mostly on when you come into the room. And we have Bonvoy TV, which is our own content that we play in the room, but the placements are within that TV show. So either within the Bonvoy TV or when you come into the room. And we're thinking about, well, where is the journey? Where is the customer in that journey? And where does the product make the most sense to be placed? And if you think about our portfolio of over 9,000 hotels worldwide, today we're mostly playing with the network in the US, but even within the 2,600 hotels that we have, it's almost 500,000 rooms that we could put a product placement in front of with multiple brands across price points, across destinations. And I mean, today we would be equivalent of a top 25 network. And when we expand to 1 million rooms in the US, we'll be equivalent to a top 10 network.
Oh, that's great. So when you're thinking about the offering, you're really thinking about, the Bonvoy app, the website, Bonvoy TV, and these other touch points as you think about each room, each lobby, each opportunity for every brand. How do you sort of see yourselves, when you're thinking about that traveler journey, partnering with, for example, airlines or potentially some of the Lyft services, Lyft or Uber or one of the car sharing? Like, do you see this sort of spreading so that you're holistic in every touch point with these sort of interesting partnerships going forward?
I mean, United is a good partner of ours. In fact, I'm on another panel with Luke in just probably an hour from now. But we definitely want to think about that connected journey. I mean, the travel partners that we already have in our ecosystem are perfect partners to do this with. Uber is already a partner. Starbucks is already a partner. And you think about consumers today on that journey, like they're already interfacing with all those brands. And so we're thinking about how we seamlessly weave that together and also offer that other opportunity to other brands across, all of our own media networks.
So you talked earlier about sort of the travel opportunity and sort of these unique opportunities for brands to connect with consumers who are open to discovery and purchase when we were catching up. Can you sort of describe exactly what that is, how you sort of hope to capture that? What is that mindset? What makes it different? Because I know that was something that you were pretty excited about as a way to actually create these opportunities for yourself and for brands because of that openness to curiosity when people are sort of actually traveling versus basically being more stuck in the day-to-day at home.
Exactly. So as marketing people, there's always a key insight that you're hooking the opportunity or the concept to. And what I've observed over time in just doing the marketing for travel is that when people decide to travel, you make that decision to open yourself up to a new experience, and that in itself puts your brain in a different place, right? Then when you're on this trip, you're exposing yourself to new things, and just because you're not sort of living in your normal routine, you're trying new foods, right? You might be exposing yourself to new people, and you don't have to be the person that you normally are in your normal life. And so you're just, again, naturally open to accepting new things. You don't have the same social pressures necessarily. And so all of this, and also just more free time, means that you've got more brain space to take on discovery. And so that's always been true about travel, which is why people know that travel broadens the mind, and when you go on a trip, like, you come back with all these great memories. But we also notice that people, when they're in our resorts, they tend to shop more, right? Because they have free time, and they freed themselves of their normal budget considerations, right? So they're like, oh, let me just splurge on that dress. And so that all led to, okay, there's more opportunity to put things in front of people. Think about the opportunity to trial new products, right, in our hotels. We haven't really done that. There's always been amenities, right, that you see in the hotel. But if we wanted to put a new face mask in front of you, or a new soap, or just something, you're captive in the room. We have Residence Inn, which has kitchens. If you wanted to try, what's that happy scrub thing, Mr. Happy or whatever it is. There's a lot of things that we could do to test and learn in our hotels.
I think you bring up a great point, which is when you're traveling, you are in a different mindset. Maybe you don't have the same budgetary constraints. You're more open to suggestion. Is this a national then brand type of approach, or potentially is this about the boutiques or the experiences that are around every single one of your properties? Yeah. And how do you sort of balance between, obviously, the easier, straightforward, hey, I can get Visa in front of every single one of our customers, doesn't matter their location around the country or around the world, versus basically, how do I actually replace my concierge, theoretically, or augment them by actually bringing that restaurant suggestion or the boutique shopping suggestion to the doorstep, and actually get paid for that suggestion, potentially?
Yeah, this is the beauty of the opportunity, I think, both for us and for brands, is that we can be very bespoke about it. So the way we have collected our data, organized and structured it, and then the capabilities we're building to be able to facilitate the placement will get down to the person level. And if you just think about the different brands we have, and then the locations, like, we will not blanket the world, right, or even the U.S. We already today are experimenting with specific brands as part of specific luxury brands, if you will, or specific brands wanting to be in front of consumers that are more focused on youth sports on the weekends, right, or consumers who just want to target a certain segment. We can already do that today, and eventually we'll be able to target down to the person, right? Today we're collecting a lot of derived information about passions, preferences, locations, destinations that you love. We already have over 400 attributes that we can segment on, and we're collecting more in terms of passions and preferences every day.
I think it's super valuable. I mean, the reality is the data, when you think about data in general, activating that data, having those touch points is, I think, challenging. And I'm like, that's the core of my business, is activating. But truly understanding people's preferences, especially, I think most people's preferences change. You're in hotels because you're in little leagues, because you're on traveling sports teams, and you know what that is. But guess what? In 3 years, when your kid goes to college, game over on that. It's going to change again. So having that in real time, I think, is extraordinarily valuable. Trying to bring that to life in the room, in the hotel, and serving up the right things, I think that is the interesting challenge.
It's the holy grail. It's not perfect yet by any means. In fact, we are on a journey. We have the vision to be able to do that, and we're able to kind of experiment in small ways. But there are some fundamental things that are really important to us, which is it's customer experience first, right? I am the chief customer officer for a reason, and we're really protective of that. So we want to give our users the opportunity to also manage their preferences and passions, and so we're working on how we do that. You can actually do it in the app today at a very high level. It's not very sophisticated yet, but our intent is to have the users fully manage that, and then even to be able to flex that on a trip. Because even in our own business today, when you're on a leisure trip, you might want something different to drink than when you're on your business trip, right? And so we're playing around with understanding that better, but therein lies the opportunity.
So switching subjects, because I loved sort of probing deeper, since you are the chief customer officer of the largest hotel chain in the world. During the pandemic, how did you sort of struggle through adversity when nobody was traveling? Talk to me about, like, what was it like then? What have been the biggest challenges in travel since then? Obviously, things have come roaring back. You know, if you read most, business publications, they say that consumers are very focused on experiences, even more than acquiring things. They want to acquire experiences. Walk us through sort of that journey from, obviously lockdown to, this explosion of travel and experiences. What surprised you most? And then when we were talking about it, you were like, what surprised you most is people wanting to bring that into their home, and sort of this advent and launch of the Marriott, of the Bonvoy boutique, and that being like a big smash success. So I'd love to hear.
So pre-COVID, we were mostly focused on business travel, right? Frequency in travel and points were all about business travelers, and they were our most loyal guests. And hotels run usually about 70 to 80% occupancy, and our system did pre-COVID and pretty much today, particularly at the premium and luxury end. And during COVID, our occupancies dropped to like 9%. Right, we ended up having to furlough like 80% of the people who worked for the company in our hotels and at the headquarters, and it was quite daunting. I don't think we'd ever in our history experienced something like that. And for all of us, we were like, "Is this gonna survive? We don't know," right? But as you mentioned, travel came roaring back, and because of that aspiration to travel, and we saw signs of it during COVID. The one business that we have that grew was our retail boutiques, the online boutiques business where we sell sheets, towels, and candles. That business started when we launched the Marriott and Westin Heavenly Bed. We came together, and beds were always sort of this thing that we managed in procurement. So people stayed in the hotels, and they would call some number and say, "Can I get this bed?" And the operations team would say, "All right, I think the procurement team can send it to you." And it was a little bit clunky, but we were able to kind of create a side business on it. Then during COVID, we decided to put that in the emails, because what else were we going to talk about? People were not going anywhere. So we're like, okay, let's just see if people want to buy and bring the travel experience home. And lo and behold, like, the business grew 26% over the COVID period and became about $60 to $70 million in GMV without trying. And then we're like, whoa, okay, that's a sign that people want these experiences, I think, due to the strength of the brands. The Edition candle, by the way, is the #1 bestseller. And so then fast forward, post-COVID, travel came roaring back, right? And today, even with political instability and unsureness and inflation and all these things, people are still prioritizing their spend on travel. And in fact, leisure travel seems to be the top priority. People are traveling for experiences, is what we've noticed. We've leaned Bonvoy into giving people access to people, places, and passions. The passions we're focused on are music, culinary, sports, and the outdoors, because people are making their travel decision based on those things. In the past, like, you would never leave your hometown for a concert, right? You waited till the concert came to you, and if it didn't come to you, then you just didn't see the band, right? Today, people are like, let me go chase the band around and go see it 3 times or 4 times, or let me go to Europe to see Taylor Swift, because it'll be not only a cheaper experience, but I'll get to see a new country too. And so travel has become embedded with experiences, and we see people prioritizing their wallet for that.
No, it's definitely probably a gratifying experience to be at 9% occupancy and then to be where it is today. Especially as you think about sort of career trajectory, et cetera. Much more fun.
Definitely gives us a lot of confidence about being around no matter what happens. So that's been nice. Yeah.
You did touch upon, I think, something really interesting, which is that consumer experience is changing. They want these experiences, and you're starting to change how you package. And that's so important. I think in any business, packaging the properties, the opportunity is so important. When you think about classic hotel purchase opportunity, I'm going to the city, and my price point is there, so I'm going to either stay at a Ritz-Carlton or I'm going to stay at a Marriott, homes, like a Airbnb, or I'm going to go stay at a sort of a lower end. It all depends on, what that threshold is that you're basically looking for. But in our conversation, you were saying that people are starting to think less about like city and potentially a hotel chain or mark or 5 stars or et cetera. And they're starting to think about like, oh, I want to go to the great outdoors. And you're starting to package differently in terms of thinking about presenting that. The example that you gave was the Marriott Bonvoy outdoor experience, which actually has different classes of hotels in the category, even though they exist all in the same series. Talk to us a little bit about that, where that's going, what you're seeing from a momentum perspective, and then maybe for this room, since we're in the marketing, advertising, and packaging is so important, maybe some of the observations, how that might be something that we can think about strategically, broadly speaking, for any business as they think about, here are the products and services I have, but here's how I can potentially repackage them into something that may actually find new value where value didn't previously or wasn't thought to exist.
Yeah, it's business strategy, it's customer insights, but we grew the business over time, and we just kept adding brands. And so as we keep adding brands, you've got now a portfolio of 9,000 hotels globally, yet we've got a search process that requires you to put in a location and dates, right? Of course, all that is changing within AI, and we can unpack that. But if you think about that, the opportunity, like if I just search for a location, first of all, I have to know where it is. And then all the options that come up today, you could be scrolling right through our brands for lists and lists and lists, which is just completely inefficient. And so then we started listening to consumers post-COVID, and people spent a lot of time outside during COVID. And more recently, we said to our internal community, we have 10,000 Bonvoy members who we can ask a question to at any time and have them respond. And they said, 80-something% of the members were thinking about planning an outdoor trip in the next 12 months. And as we started digging deeper, we started to understand like these passions around, why are you traveling outdoors? Oh, because I like to ski and fish and hike. And we figured out the 7 top categories. So we said, well, why don't we merchandise our products? We already have hotels in all these places around the world that facilitate these experiences, but it's really hard for people to find them. So we have over 450 hotels that we've qualified as in the outdoors category. Then we've put a merchandising handle on it, Marriott Bonvoy Outdoors. You can go to the website and check it out. You can search by the 7 categories. And then we went on to acquire 2 brands, Postcard Cabins and Trailborn, that are more sort of endemic, nature-born brands and experiences. And we put those into the portfolio. Postcard Cabins, there's 29 locations across the U.S., about 200 miles from major cities, mostly located near national parks like the Shenandoah. And you can go and stay in a cabin and have a fire pit. But what we heard from most consumers is, I would stay outside more. I would go to a camping experience if I had a bathroom and a bed, right? So these postcard cabins actually do that for you. So it's fun to kind of reinvent your own portfolio and then show people we actually have 113 locations where you can go and ski with us. And by the way, we added our homes and villas, over 50,000 homes and villas into the experience. And then we added the Moments experiences. We've got a partnership with Shaun White. And so you can go to snowboarding events, right, and meet Shaun White. So then we said, well, like we're selling these things in different places, like let's just put them all together based on people's passions. So now link that back to, as I get to know you as a traveler, and I know your passions and preferences, great white sharks, maybe, Harry, and I can give you those experiences in and around that, not just your hotel stay, but maybe your trip there, and then the other experiences that you have. We become a whole new merchandising platform, right, for you. And then now link that back to the media network. Now I know the people who love to ski, and who are the other partners and products I can put in front of you as a result.
Yeah, you'll go to K2 and Rosniel and all the rest and say, hey, let's go do a partnership on that, which is classically not in the standard media and advertising. Very few people call on them. Well, I wanted to, we have 4 minutes left, and I wanted to open it up to questions and Q&A. So I thought that I'd just see who's in the room. Who wants to ask a question over there? Yes, you over there. Who wants to ask a question? Any questions? Go ahead, in the hat. All right, so the question, repeating it as, when you launched Marriott Bonvoy, and specifically the Bonvoy app, how hard was it to actually get subscription to that app, getting people to download it, put it on the phone, and become sort of like this digital experience where you can even I don't know if people use their key to get into their room on the app, but it's pretty cool. But it's a great experience, I think, globally, and I think that experience for the people that are Bonvoy fans makes it really easy or desirable to stay at a Bonvoy hotel because of those incremental digital customer experience features.
Thank you. Good job.
How hard was it when you sort of faced the challenge of, okay, we're gonna try to lean all in on this, but we hope that people want a hotel experience as a standalone app on their phone, and if it fails, then it fails. But how did you get there?
I think it's been a journey, right? Just like anyone who launches an app, and we've built up the experience over time. We actually have a dedicated team now that thinks every day about the member experience and how to evolve it. And, it's obviously intertwined very much into our data strategy and our overall tech strategy. It has to be connected to the operating platform at the hotel in terms of operations, as well as a reservation system, as well as a loyalty system. So on the back end and the tech side, it's quite complex to change any one feature. That said, our members really love it. I think if you're a loyal member, I think over 50 to 60% of our members are using it solely. Many members that are deeply loyal say, I don't even go anywhere else. I just go in the app because you have so many options. No matter where I'm traveling in the world, I can find a place. We aspire to add more and more functionality. In fact, when we launched the mobile app, the mobile key piece, it wasn't very good. It's still kind of tricky in some places because it has to work with the technology at the hotel. And you think about it, like hotels have had different technology infrastructures. We've acquired hotels, we've brought new ones into the system, and they're not all just magically on the same key platform. And so it takes time and it takes investment to get it all working consistently. But the DNA of our company is quality, consistency, and service. And when we commit to something, we do it well. And so we believe that the mobile app is the key to the member experience. We will continue to put more benefits. It is what creates a moat versus the competition and other booking platforms. And so we will continue to invest, and we want to invite as many users as possible. I think there's 1.4 billion travelers in the world, even though we've enrolled 250 million, we're after all of them.
Well, at least you'll have a good advertising opportunity in the app as well as you start to roll that out.
We do.
Any other questions in the room? We have probably time for one more question. Who's the lucky person that gets to ask it?
Any Bonvoy members out there? Good. Awesome. I'd like to enroll the rest of you. Any ambassadors out there? Oh, okay. All right, Harry. You win the prize.
Sadly. It's up in the air. Go ahead.
With the success of your commerce and your beds and candles, how are you guys planning to expand on that? Are you planning to expand on that?
Oh, the retail, thanks for asking. In fact, because of the success during COVID, we decided to invest more in growing the retail business. If you go to MarriottBoutiques.com today, you can actually see we have overhauled the website and the shopping experience. So before, you had to go to multiple different sites to buy like the Ritz-Carlton candle versus the Edition candle versus the Marriott bed. And we have integrated the front end experience today so you can buy candles or sheets or towels from any brand. And in fact, we're leaning into, because of health and wellness, the sleep area. So you can see that we've got advice on how to pick the best pillow, how to buy your sheets, right? How to clean your sheets, how to make your beds. And you'll see us lean more and more because of wellness and the trend that across generations, people are thinking more about sleeping well, eating well, moving well. We are leaning into that from a boutique standpoint.
You could actually add other, like a marketplace like Walmart, you could add other products to it, like do a partnership.
I know, well, we didn't really unpack this earlier, but think about the dynamics of a media network plus a retail site and what we would be able to offer partners who want to maybe do product trial in our rooms and then place that product into our boutique site for purchase and advertise it on the media network. So a lot of room to play.
You've heard it here first. This is the aspirations and the goals. You'll see it next year. Thank you so much. We're out of time. Thank you so much,
Harry.
Peggy.
Yep.